All right, let's talk Texas Longhorns here for a little bit. Look, obviously, the season didn't end the way anyone in Texas wanted it to, of course, making the college football playoff, but losing to Washington in a heartbreaker. But the good news for Texas is they have an opportunity to build that momentum and take that into 2024 and make a much deeper playoff run, hopefully to a national title this upcoming season. And to that end, it looks like the Longhorns are doing a great job keeping their continuity in place on the coaching staff. Let's pull up the report and we'll talk about it more on the other side. This is from Burnt Orange Nation. In the aftermath of the program's first Big 12 title since 2009 and first ever appearance in the college football playoff, head coach Steve Sarkisian had to deal with a good and novel problem. His assistants were in demand around the country. Just about every coach on our coaching staff got offered a job this offseason, legitimately. And so managing those guys through that of what's in the best interest for them, their families, and the commitment they made to us, and grateful for those guys for all they've done, said Sarkisian. The report goes on to say staff continuity allows Sarkisian to enter his fourth coordinator on the 40 acres with all three coordinators intact. Again, they've had so many guys get offered jobs, but the overwhelming majority of their staff is intact, including those three coordinators: offensive coordinator Kyle Flood, defensive coordinator Pete Kwiatkowski, and special teams coordinator Jeff Banks. Here's another important one: strength and conditioning coach Tori Beckton as well. To deal with the heavy demands on a college head coach, Sarkisian's ability to trust his assistants is paramount. If I can't be at a meeting that day, I know that meeting is going to get ran the right way and things are going to get accomplished, said Sarkisian. Obviously, this is great news for Texas. Keeping that coaching core intact is absolutely critical because it's a phenomenal staff. Molly's, I'm curious what your thoughts are on this report. But first, Texas fans, look, as we head into 2024, really spring ball is not that long away. Football is slowly working its way back. Give us the one guy in the Longhorns roster who you think will really have to step up from 2023 and 2024. Guy's going to have to really elevate his game. Let us know in the comment section below. But Myers, what are your thoughts on this report out of Texas and what it means for the Longhorns going forward?
Yeah, Nick, I think this is great for the Longhorns and great for Coach Sarkisian just because his comments on continuity in the coaching staff is so important. It allows him to do what he needs to do, but know that his, next man up, the three main coordinators for each offense, defense, special teams can go and deliver what he wants done, as they've worked so well together and they've already had full seasons under Sarkisian knowing what he wants done. It's paramount for him to keep the momentum going, that he is able to keep this coaching staff intact. And when everybody is demand on your staff and on your when everybody on your staff is in demand, it's not easy to keep all those guys. And it just shows the level of commitment they have to the program, the history of Texas, as well as, their commitment to Coach Sarkisian. I think two guys did end up leaving, but the most notably was the co-defensive coordinator as well. Jeff, I think it's Choate, Choat. I apologize if I don't pronounce that correctly. But outside of that, if the biggest loss that you have after a season where you make it to the college football playoff is your co-defensive coordinator and your main defensive coordinator still is on the staff, I think this just shows that Texas has a really great core of coaches. They have a great team, and I think everybody believes in this team, and they think that this coming season, there's going to be a big, big push by the Longhorns to go back to the college football playoff and finish what they started. I think there's a goal down at Texas. I think there's a goal for them to make it to the college football playoff. I think there's a goal that everybody believes that they can win. Otherwise, with all of these coaches in demand, they would start going to other schools. They would start trying to get other head coaching jobs or other coordinator jobs to advance their careers. But this seems like the place for them. And I think that's a lot due to Coach Sarkisian and what he's built down in Austin.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And I think an important element is just how critical continuity is going to be for this Texas Longhorns program. Because there's a lot of programs that really necessarily don't need it, right? Alabama famously changed offensive coordinators every year. In fact, Sarkisian, of course, spent a short time for the Crimson Tide. And one of the reasons they could have some, discontinuity, some variability at those coaching staff positions is because they already had a championship program where every year 11-1, 12-1, 13-0, right? They were always in that range, always winning titles or always getting to the game. Texas, unfortunately, does not have that recent history to fall back on. If you look at their past seasons, right, you go back to 2014, you look at this 6-7, 5-7, 5-7, 7-6, 10-4, won the Sugar Bowl, Tom Herman's best year, then 8-5, 7-3, and then 5-7, 8-5. Only this past season did they actually have a 12-win season and, of course, win the conference championship. So this program, these kids, they don't have an opportunity to look back on the past year, 2 or 3, and have championship experience in their own right to fall back on. Same thing with the coaching staff. The one way you can mitigate that is continuity. Okay, we've all worked together. We all know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we can build off of that learned experience together. If you don't have that championship experience, you need to be consistent with the group around the team. That includes the coaching staff, that includes strength and conditioning staff. This is the time of the year, by the way, before you get into spring ball with strength and conditioning staff is dealing with these players all day, every day, pretty much. It's important to have the right guy there. So continuity is critical there. Do not overlook that. That's a critical position. But having everyone knowing each other, working together, and build off of that relationship they had in 2023, I think will allow that momentum to continue. Because again, without that championship experience, we see this all the time. Look at TCU last year, right? Went to the college football national championship game. 1 year wonder they were terrible this past season. Why? Because they lost some guys in the transfer portal, lost some coaches, and the rest of the team did not have any championship experience to rely on. Texas, on the other hand, while they didn't make it to the national championship game, they made a deep playoff run, but they didn't lose a lot of coaches. So they don't need to rely on championship experience. They can rely on each other. I think this is outstanding news for Texas. I think it's kind of slid under the radar how important this is going to be for the Longhorns going forward. But I think if we look back and the success that I think Texas will have in the future, I think the decision by these coaches to stay in Austin will have a huge role in that.
Yeah, and you bring up TCU, which I think is a very good example for more than one way. You look at continuity in the players as well and how important that is. Max Duggan, they leaves, goes to NFL. Texas has a lot of continuity at the quarterback position as well. You look at Quinn Ewers, he had the opportunity to go to the NFL. Probably would have got drafted somewhere in the first round. Decides to stay with Texas. You look at Arch Manning. He's not necessarily going to be the starter next year. I think he's the opportunity to battle that job out, but Quinn Ewers is most likely going to be the starter now that he's staying. Arch Manning has an opportunity to leave Texas, go to another school where he easily could start at a bunch of different programs all over the country. But no, the continuity and the staff, I think, helps the continuity with the players. Having the staff there, I think these players believe in what's going on in Texas. They want to stay here, and they think this is their best opportunity. If Arch Manning is going to stay at Texas this season, I think that he believes in what is going on down in Austin. I think he believes in Coach Sarkisian, and I think he as well thinks that this Texas team has the opportunity to go all the way this season.